Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric and today I watched Doom Patrol, Season 1, Episode 3, Puppet Patrol. This episode was very cool. Spoilers, I'm not going to go into great details, but I am going to talk about generally cool stuff that happens. And all of it's a lot better if you don't know that it's coming. So go watch this episode and then let's talk about it. We had the two main storylines. The one was everybody going down to Paraguay, trying to go down to Paraguay to track down track down the chief, but they find some other stuff instead. But not all of them make it down there. We have Cyborg, who wanted to make the mission happen to begin with. He gets left behind along with Rita. They're just stuck at a motel when the van breaks down. That rickety old bus. They're stuck there, but Jane teleports Robot Man and Negative Man with her to finish the mission. So it's really cool to see these different team ups happening each week. That they get split up for whichever reason, and we get to see them interact with each other in different ways. And I like when an ensemble show does that. I think it adds a lot. So we ended up with those two storylines in the present, splitting off from the main one. And then we also have the backstory, all these 1961 scenes with Negative Man. Before he became Negative Man is Larry Trainer, and we see him because that was a tease from the end of the last episode, I believe it was, that he didn't fit in even before all of this because he's gay, and so he has a secret lover that we see his whole relationship with him, and kind of how they're trying to navigate that with their jobs in the military, being test pilots and stuff. I think they're test pilots, and all of that. It starts with like the day before the incident where he becomes inhabited by that alien entity and becomes Negative Man, and a charred human being that's cuts himself off from all human emotions and ties because of such a the monster he has become, and all that kind of thing. So this backstory stuff is really cool, and it's also really cool if you're a Matt Bomber fan, because it's before the incident, so you get to see him as him, and not just hear his voice behind that shroud of bandages. And this ties into this main mission. It goes off track because Negative Man, Larry's is trying to plead with the alien inhabitant while he's driving, which is not a good idea. But I guess it's the only part of the bus that has mirrors that he could be talking to. He could find a mirror, a handheld mirror, and handle that in the back while somebody else is driving. Bad call. Anyway, so the group that goes down to Paraguay, they come upon Fuktopia, which is the paradise, the scientific experiment paradise founded by the Nazi scientist. I guess ex-Nazi scientist. Is he still? He still might be a Nazi. I don't know. He doesn't really hide the fact in the puppet show, showing his whole story up to that point, his development of Fuktopia and all of that. But yeah, we have Crazy Jane. By the way, Jane is absolutely my favorite character on this show. The actress who plays her does such an amazing job, because she's playing all these different personalities, and it's really fun to watch her, and it's sometimes stressful also. But yeah, she's just awesome. Anyway, it's this whole thing where people go down there so that they can buy powers, and they meet this guy who wants to get his own powers. And he saved up all this money. He wanted to get the full Murden treatment, which he doesn't know exactly what that is. The Mr. Nobody powers. But and maybe those Mr. Nobody powers is actually something different for every person, that it's not a specific thing. It just like brings out the fullest from one particular person, whatever their situation is. I don't know. We don't actually see that. Or maybe we do see that. Maybe what he does end up with is the Morden treatment. But anyway, it's a whole thing. That scientist survived, and they find out that the chief is the one who maybe the one who actually caused Mr. Nobody to be created, or he's trying to stop him from being created, but he shot Von Fook. But he did not die. He's still around. He's still here in the thing, but they presumably kill him. All that. There's an awesome fight scene, super violent. Robot Man just using the lower halves of people as weapons. It's bonkers. It is absolute. It's more violent than anything that I've seen on any of the Netflix Marvel shows. I think that was kind of parodying that. It was like kicking it up like 10 notches from that. It's like, okay, they have their hallway scene. We're gonna have our hallway scene, and people are gonna be ripped in half and used as weapons. I think that's the way to go, and I think they made the right choice. They absolutely made the right choice. So Jane turns into her fire wielding personality and just torches the place afterwards. But as they're flying home, so Vic's father refused to fund this mission down there, but he was okay with bailing him out, and they go back home on a jet from Star Laboratories. And all is well and good as far as not having to endure another road trip on the way back. But anyway, after that, right before the credits, or maybe it was during the credits, in the lab, in the pod, getting the powers, we see this, maybe his name is Steve. I don't remember what his actual name was. But he's confused. Like, was I supposed to be in here for that long? And he comes out, and you see his legs, the legs step out. There's a tree leg, and a rocky leg, and then the camera pans up, and we see his broccoli hand, and then that he has a second head, as a dinosaur head. It is animal, mineral, vegetable man. I was not aware of this character before, but I looked up an article. I was trying to find out more about this Von Fook's character, if he's in the comics and stuff. I didn't find very much info on that. I only found articles about this episode, but I did find an article about this character and the original appearance of this character, and the thing it's pretty awesome. It's crazy. It's just this guy that is part animal, mineral, and vegetable. And it's, I guess we'll see if he plays into things later on, or if it's just a fun tag for the end of this episode. So next week, the episode 4 is called Cult Patrol. And I'm excited to see what happens, because all of these episodes have just been bonkers so far. I think this is the first episode. I don't think we had any narration from Mr. Nobody. So I don't know if he'll only narrate when he's, or maybe I just totally missed it. Maybe he did narrate parts of it. I don't remember exactly. Even though I watched this episode basically twice, I'm kind of tired. My memory is not doing well today. So anyway, that's it. I loved this episode. I love all these episodes of Doom Patrol. It's the show that I'm most excited about each week, as far as like scripted shows go. I'm even more excited about this than watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT and all of those. Because I know there's going to be this crazy stuff that happens, this fun special effects things and all kinds of science fiction, weird stuff. And I have been enjoying it quite a bit. So that's it for Doom Patrol episode 3. Let me know what you thought about it by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'll be back with more before then. But next week, episode 4. And next week's new comics. I'll actually do this all as one episode next time. And all the stuff in between, all the WWE stuff. And next weekend, WWE Fastlane, which I'm going to keep checking flight prices. It keeps going up and down by like up to $150 difference between the cheapest flights day to day. If there does end up being like a last minute sale on flights, I might go out there for it. But currently, it's a no-go just from how much one flight costs round trip to get there and back in that time frame. Anyway, stay tuned for all that. At the very least, I'll talk about it, having watched it on TV. How boring is that, watching a pay-per-view on TV? And I'll be back soon with more TIW podcasts. Thanks for listening. Bye.